Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a pair of earrings. Now we started, see this fun connector? And I think this is going to be really pretty. It's sort of what I want to use for our earrings, except this was a coated wire that I tried to use, and the coated wire, the coating came off where we were pounding it to do the paddles on either side. So I have found some silver in the 12 gauge, which is what it asks for. And I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but we're going to try it. It does say it has a copper core, which means that the copper might come out through the silver. And if it does, it does. And then we're also going to again use our antique brass for our wrap. This is 20 gauge wire. So let's turn down and we'll look at what we're going to do more. So we needed two 1-inch pieces, I think that's about an inch, yes, of the 12 gauge wire. This is the 12 gauge wire, tarnish resistant copper core silver. And so I have already cut our two 1-inch pieces. Ta-da! And then we're also going to need some of our 20 gauge. This is going to wrap around it though, this spot right here, to make our decorative piece. I've got some eye pins, ball head pins. And what I'm going to do with these is I have some tiny spacers. I'm going to put that on here. Then I'm going to put this bead here on one of these star spacers. This little bead, and then another tiny spacer. Then when we get our piece here finished, this is going to hook. Let's take this as a sample, and it's going to hook down on the bottom for a pair of earrings, and then we'll have an ear wire up at the top, or a post, whichever we decide. So since I already have this loaded on here, I'm going to bend it so that it doesn't come undone. I'm going to do the same and get the other one set up as well. So there are those two set up, ready to go on to the bottom when we get our pieces finished. So we're just going to set these things aside. Then we're going to take this one, and as I can see that this piece is a little bit crooked, so I want to straighten that if I can, because we're going to flatten these, and I would rather it didn't go off to one side because it's a little crooked. So it's still not quite straight, but I think it might be straight enough to work with. So what we want to do now is get our steel block out. Ta-da, steel block. And our chasing hammer. And we're going to take, sorry, this is going to get loud, guys. We're going to take our pieces, and we want to seriously flatten the ends. So we'll roll this over, do this side. Once we have this side done, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to go and we're going to also flatten the other side. Leaving the center of the piece with rounded. Now when we have both sides of our pin finished, now I'm going to tell you, because you're making these by hand and you're smashing these pieces, the likelihood of being identical is slim to nil. But we're gonna, now we've got this piece done. We're gonna get our second piece and we're gonna do it as well. Just the same way, smashing the heck out of the two ends. Ow. And try not to squish your fingers. This over to the other side. I'm gonna now do the other side, then we'll compare them, see which one, if either need to have any more spashing on them. See, I got a little more smashed towards the middle on this one, which I hadn't intended to do, but we got it anyway. Now let's compare these to each other, see how close they are. This one looks like it's a little wider still than the other side, the other one here. So we're gonna give this one some more pounds. Now these are going to be sort of generic because they cannot, like I said, when you're pounding like this, and you're not likely to get them to be exactly the same. So they're relatively close. So our next step is to take our file. Now I'm going to put my steel block to the side here, unless I decide I need it again. And we want to take our file and we want to file these so they're sort of rounded and have the sharp edges off of them, because let's face it, they will have a sharp edge just from being cut, let alone pounded. Now we'll do the other side here. Now if you wanted to play with this a lot, this would be where you could get them closer in shape, because then you might be able to round them more with your file so they are matching more. Of course, you want to get any burrs off if possible. Now, see, this one is a little bit crooked, and I'm not sure I can straighten it because it is pretty well flattened now, so it's going to want to stay crooked. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers here, and I'm going to take hold of this end, and we're going to see if we can't get it to bend over that way some. but I don't think we're going to be able to. No, we're not going to be able to get it to move any, because number one, it's 12 gauge, so it's pretty heavy duty anyway. And number two, because it is so work hardened from being pounded so much, so it's not going to even out, unfortunately. So that's where like I said, our generic shape is going to come into play, because we can't get that curve that it made out of there. I was hoping that I would be able to, but it's not going to happen. So they're going to just be as close as possible, which is what they are right now. So my next step is to take my hole punch, and we're going to punch holes on either side of our on each side of the paddles here. So we'll just sort of eyeball the middle here and punch. Then we have to work it off, because it won't want to come off. Come on, baby, off you come. There we go. Now we do the same with the other side. And work it off. Now we do this with this one as well. Oh my, you don't want to punch. Oh, no, that's weird. This one's acting like it's a lot stiffer than the other, tougher than the other one was, because the other one went through pretty quickly, but this one doesn't seem to want to. Throwing things away, Rose. So I'm going to get my other hole punch out. I've got two of them. Now see, it went straight through with that one. This one must have a dull, must be dulled. It came off easier too. So I'll probably need to get a new pin for this one. Now I dropped pliers on the ground, so I'm going to have to get those. Because we punched those holes, they're going to have little sharp edges. So we're going to take our file again and file on the edge of the hole to take off those burrs. And as I'm filing, as you can see, the copper is starting to come out of these, the coloration here. So I'm going to do it so it goes on both, because I want them to be pretty much the same. So I'll let that copper come through. So there's our two pieces here. Now, as we squished them, these will have gained some length. So let's see how long they became. They gained about 1/4 of an inch, because they were about an inch. Now they're about 1 1/4 inches. This one still has a sharp spot I can feel. Okay. Now this one looks much better than this one, but that's all right. Like I said, this is sort of a, oh, how do you want to put it? Sort of however it wants to go kind of thing. So now we're going to get some of our bronze wire out. And this wire never wants to come out of its slot, so pull it pretty tight. I don't really need this much. So we'll go in right here and cut this off. And we're going to cut this piece of wire in half because we don't need this much. For one, we will need it for both of them. So we're going to cut it in half. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to take our wire, we're going to take it and we're going to put it in the center of our piece here, and then we're going to wrap it around like 1, 2, and back up this way. And then this one here will go 1, 2, and back up here again. Now I definitely have more wire than we need because even though we're going to make some spirals, we didn't need this much wire to make our spirals. See how we did these? 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're on 5 there. So these two ends are going to become little spirals. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. Just put it right in the middle of our bar, just about, and then we're going to bring it around once and then twice and back up here. Once and twice and back up here. So now we have to make our little spirals, and this is probably more than we need. We probably need only about this much for our spirals, if even that. So we'll cut these two pieces off. Same on this side. And these spirals will probably not be identical because, let's face it, we're making 4 different spirals. So we want to make this little guy go this way. Grab this little guy and push this around to make our spiral. A little bit more. And then he's going to sit right here. Bring it down and stick it on top too, like so. So now we have our 2 spirals on either side. We'll do the same with this one. So Now the spirals are actually going to hide part of our the mess of them not being quite right from each other, the little pin pieces. So there we go. So they look like so. Now, that was cute. Should apologize for my hand. I've been organizing some, so my hands are a little messy. So now you can do this one of two ways. You can hook them on right here, or you can do a circle, a loop, and then just put them on with a jump ring. You lost your tiny one. Get back on there. And so you can hardwire them on or jump ring them on. I personally think it'll be a lot easier just to jump ring them. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll grab our bell making plier and we're going to wrap this baby up. And since we are going to jump ring it, I don't have to worry about leaving space to run it over onto the piece. So there is our loops. Behave. Stop wiggling like that. Got our pins. Tuck it in. You are being really wiggly. Straighten her up some because she went crooked on us. There we go. Now we'll cut this one and trim it. Well, trim it and tuck it, I should say. So there's those two pieces now. So we'll get a couple of little jump rings and hook those on. So Okay. Now we have that on. We have to decide what we're going to do for ear wires, whether we're going to just use ear wires or if we're going to use a post. An ear wire would definitely work, though we'd need two jump rings if we're going to do an ear wire, because it's going to go, you need one and then to turn it to go the other way. But if we use a post, we could just put it directly on. Let's see if I've got something that would be nice for here. These aren't what I was originally leaning towards, but I think they'll work. I think they'll even look sort of cool. But now we're going to have 3 different colors of metal, and that's all right, because, hey, we are going to have, it's going to be pretty. But we will, I believe, need a slightly bigger jump ring than the Tinky Tot. So since this is gold, I'm going to go with a couple of the medium, which are 6mm oval jump rings in gold. And we'll open one of these up and put it on, see what it looks like. Come on, baby, go on there. Slide over. There we go. I'll close this baby up. And we'll take a look and see what it looks like. I rather like it. I think it's cool. Let's see how long it ended up being. About 3 inches, which is what I like. So there we go. We could have used a smaller piece up here, which would have made it be small, well, smaller obviously. And I actually was considering, I had these little silver, come here, go out, these little silver teardrops, well, inverted teardrops, which I was thinking of using originally. And I think it's almost too small to go with it. So I think we'll stay with the, unless we want to switch it to a gold, different gold set, or maybe even, oops, sorry, let's get things back in where they belong. The other thing I was looking towards was these howlite rather than the black. And those would have looked good also. Let's see which one I prefer. The howlite one or this black one. You know, I think I prefer the howlite one. So we will switch out the gold jump ring for some silver. And we will put the howlite one on here rather than the black. No, come on, back in here. And then we can compare them again if I see which one we really, really like best. there it is with the howlite piece. And here it is with the black. And I think I'm switching to the howlite. I do like the howlite piece. So let's take this gold one back off. Open the silver. Mom. There we go. Not sure I got that closed all the way. Let's take a look, see. Looks like it could go just a teeny weeny bit more, but it's not too bad. And so there we go, and we need to change out these for some earpieces. And I think that made for a really interesting and cute pair of earrings. Now, like I said, you could use any kind of ear stud, or in this case, you could have also used instead of an ear stud, you could have used a ear wire. But I think these turned out quite nicely. They are about what I was wanting them to do. So, like I said, this is the original little piece we used. I like how the copper, and I even like the green that's all marred up in here, the distressed look. But it's not bad. But this is how it looks with our silver and bronze wire, with our orange crystals down here, and our howlite post up here at the top. All done. So here we go. Here's our earrings. Aren't those pretty? I think they're a really nice length. They're the length I like anyway. Not everybody likes that length, but I do. So let's see how long they actually ended up being. Looks like just about 3 inches. So I think I really like them. I hope you enjoyed making these with me. They were something a little different, a little fun. But I think they're really nice. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we've been making these fun little earrings just with items from my stash, and I think they turned out really cute. I hope you enjoyed making them with me. I enjoyed making them with you. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.